Alright, but welcome back indeed for more Path of Exile. It's been a while, I know, but we still gotta finish it off. We have all these 4 little pieces. Make sure you put them in the correct way, otherwise it will not actually work. We're gonna be fighting a boss called the Shaper. He is relatively fair. He just has one move that you specifically have to like move out of the way. And what it is it's a little telegraphed slam attack. That one you have to move out of the way, it'll one-shot you, but there's a beam, you just got to move out of the way of the beam, but you're going to be kind of moving. My suggestion is to move and shoot, so that way when he activates the beam, you won't be kind of caught off guard. But before we fight him, we will actually have to kill these bosses. The bosses don't really matter. It's random on what you get, they're just in 4 corners, but we're going to do the whole thing for the sake of being as thorough as possible. So you just go down to any of the corners, the boss will come out, and we will eliminate the boss. So it's random on what bosses that you will encounter, but it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm just trying to stand farther away. Okay, there we go. We getting him? Is it even hitting him? Okay, there we go. Some bosses, they have phases, and like this one is one of those where it's like, hold on, you can't hit me. I'm gonna pick up this ring, and let's continue. So that's 1 out of the 4 bosses down. Actually, there's like 6 bosses, kind of, in a sense. But you have to kill 4 of them first. So the first 4 don't really matter. You will absolutely walk over them. Sometimes you get unlucky. You have bosses that just take a little bit longer than others. This one, sometimes you got to be a little bit careful on. Just because... sometimes you can do a lot of damage if you're holding still, especially if you end up getting shocked. We summon our little skeleton buddies. You don't actually need them for like any of these bosses, so I just happen to have them because for some boss mechanics, I actually like the skeletons. It's a way to kind of cheese some of the bosses. We'll pop our flask and just melt them, and he's dead too. Next up, we're going to go up. Fight the 3rd boss. And the Shaper boss fight is, I would consider, pretty hard, but he's relatively fair. I say relatively because sometimes your ping can really mess you up. Especially if your computer can't handle like the amount of like projectiles that are coming out. Oh. Taking some massive damage here. Let's get him down. You know, watch the ground sometimes. Get our golem out. One thing to be careful about when you're actually fighting the Shaper is don't feel like you have to actually summon your golem at all times. The reason why I mentioned that, there's just a lot of ignite on the ground, so we took lots of damage. Because the moment you are in that animation, the Shaper can kill you. Either with the slam, the beam, so like if your golem dies, just it's okay. Only resummon the golem if you fully die and you reset. Get piety down. No, I didn't really get to see them. Okay. So now we got all of them down. We can go through this portal. We'll open up. I just like some of these skeletons. So the only important thing is when he goes away, you'll see a little like space behind him. It's purple. That's the only thing that's really like you must dodge or you die. So you don't get hit by these orbs. That attack right there, where it's a big purple, you move out of the way. Now he's doing his charge up attack. Mostly just move and shoot, and you should be okay. But be careful if you do summon your golem. Beam. So when these white orbs follow you, you want to pop these on the edge of the map like I did right there. The reason why is because it will have like a lingering effect if you pop it in the middle like I did right there, just to show you guys. Now that whole area is going to be bad to step on. So you want to kind of watch out. So just move and shoot, and you should be okay. And if Zana is doing her little thing, Shaper will be like occupied And what you want to do is make sure, again, you pop these orbs on the outside of the map. Generally, you want to stack them close to each other so you can just have like an area that you don't go to. Now he's doing his teleport slam. Like I said, be careful if you summon your golem. I'm doing it because I'm kind of used to the game, but like, just be very careful. It will get you killed if you don't. But I also like the golem because like sometimes he can just take a hit for you. He's doing his teleport. I'm moving, and there we go. I think he targeted the golem for the beam, so that was kind of nice. But we don't have like insane gear, so I'm trying to keep this build still like what I would consider like in the budget-ish area. But once you get him down to about half, you want to go fast because he's regenerating right now. Since all my flasks are on auto cast, usually like you want to save your flasks, but we're going to be fighting another boss very, very soon. But the new PoE league is coming out pretty soon. I think for the next league, I might go some sort of necromancer because one, a lot of people really like it, and it's a really easy build for beginners. It's probably the safest beginner build, but it all depends on the map mechanic for some of the new bosses. Because like some melee builds, it's hard. Like, if you want to play Flicker Strike and Delph, yeah, it's not really going to be viable. So I'm hoping Flicker Strike will be viable for, like, whatever new type of endgame boss mechanic exists. It's always been one of my favorite. You can do Golemancer. Any type of, like, summoner is kind of what I'd say is, like, what I would recommend. But this boss, it doesn't really matter if you're ranged. He does have, like, a relatively large, like, downward slam, but for range doesn't matter. Let's summon our skeleton buddies. So in this phase over here, there's going to be a little bit more of play. So he'll be a little bit more difficult. But what really it comes down to is when she says come to me, that means yes, you come to her and you stand inside. Do not let her die. She can take damage, but it's really only from the orbs. What's kind of unfair is sometimes a Shaper will do that, like right as you just ended, like the standing in there, he's going to charge up and do an attack. What I'm going to do right now is try to get these orbs to pop on the side, and also just protect Zana so she doesn't die, because if she dies, then you have to dodge all of those, which is not fun. I'll just pop that and we'll be okay. He's doing a slam. There we go. Pop these on the outside though. Oh yeah, because if those get popped anywhere else, yeah, it's no fun. And he'll do beam. Pop this on the outside. You'll have a second for it to pop. Sometimes if you can't see him, that's where it can be very dangerous. So watch out for that as well. Once again, we'll pop these things on the outside. It's a pretty fair fight, though, for the most part. It's just sometimes when he does his charge-up attack. There we go. Again, you want to pop these on the outside. There we go. Zana's getting pretty low, though, which is kind of dangerous. And then he teleports us out one more time, and then we gotta fight another boss. But he's relatively tough, and like the first time that I fought him, I didn't do it. Like if you die, it's okay. It happens. As long as you're able to understand the mechanics, you should have it down. It's just the beam will usually tag you for a little bit, but that's why you gotta have good movement speed. But the slam will definitely kill you. We haven't gotten hit by the the slam yet. Like the beam, it's normal to get hit by it. Some builds are so tanky that they can just take everything that he has to throw at you, but you'll need very expensive gear. And for like any sort of like beginner guides, I always make these really cheap, like as in like anyone can pretty much build these. You can see our damage is not very insane. I would consider this a little bit on the like the lower-ish side, but again, at this point, I don't have like Awakened, which a lot of people will try to prioritize at this point. But I want everyone to be able to like defeat him. Alright, there we go. So he's about like 40, maybe like 45%. So your big window to do damage to him is usually when he does the beam. But now we've got another one. He's doing a slam. The slam is like the most important thing to stop though. During this, remember you want to pop these on the outside if you can. Oh, that's no good. See how it's on the inside? That's bad. That's really bad. Unfortunately, we got hit by it. It happens. Sometimes it feels like you're walking and then you just get hit by it. But make sure when you do die, resummon your golem, get all of your buffs up. But yeah, that one unfortunately was like kind of on the inside. And I didn't even see where it was. All right. So now we're going to continue where we left off. Don't worry, he won't like heal all the way up. That'd be really mean. You can pop them on top of each other, that's good. He's doing a slam. So one of them is a clone. You obviously want to target the real one. Oh, we're right inside that, that's really bad. Well, let's do this. Oh, we got hit by that. That should have been something that we maybe like moved down on. That was my fault on that one. But we had too many on the inside of the little like circle. Yeah, that was a nice little invitation. He's doing a slam attack. You know, on that time, I honestly didn't even see him. And that can happen. Like, you can see the ping sometimes will just shoot up. It is unfortunate, but it happens. It happens indeed. All right. We have that culling strike, so we should be able to kill him relatively fast. Woo! There we go. Now we got some items. We got a flask that is actually pretty good for our build. But like I said, I was trying to keep this build budget, so I didn't get like Awakened. You can also actually drop some of these flasks if you want to. I actually really like Dodre's. However, if you want to, you could probably drop Forbidden Taste for just another life flask. You know, that's something I actually grabbed specifically for the video. The reason why is if you get hit by a big attack, you're more than likely going to die anyways, which is probably going to be the slam. But we did get something that is pretty good, and if you want to get this before the fight, it's actually pretty useful. It's called Dying Sun. So what Dying Sun does is it gives you an additional 2 projectiles during the flask effect. It's probably not too expensive. Let me check the price on it. A Dying Sun is like 8 chaos. Okay, usually at the very beginning these are kind of expensive, but as time progresses and at this point it's like probably going to be really cheap. The only thing that you're looking for is the less duration. So you want the thing to have as low as possible. Ours, I believe, rolled as worst as possible, but hey, that's just the luck. You don't need it really for the fire res. It's just for the additional 2 projectiles. What would I drop for it? I mean, if I really wanted to at this point, I like having Forbidden Taste in general just so I don't die. But there comes to a point where you feel confident enough, or if you just die. Like at this point, since I died, I lost all my XP that I got anyway, so I could go run this. We'd get 2 additional projectiles, which significantly will increase our boss damage because it's 2 more arrows that would hit another like 2 times to hit 4 times because tornado shot. Plus we have the the Hydrosphere, which is actually unfortunately next patch getting nerfed, but it's okay. We have Tornado and it's like the same thing, unless they are also nerfing Tornado, which I didn't actually read. I just know that they specifically said that they're nerfing Hydrosphere, which I'm super disappointed by because Snake's Pit is one of my favorite items in the game. But there we go. We had defeated Shaper. We got a Fragment of Shape. If you want to get all of these, you can actually do more. But for the most part, in terms of like leagues, I kind of left the league a little bit early in terms of the Scourge mechanic. I don't even have like, where does it? Added cold damage is still like level 19. I don't even have this level 20 yet. But there's Shaper. He's one of like the end game bosses. There are still more harder bosses. You can make Shaper harder. You can do a lot more in the game. But this is where I personally want to end off on Scourge League because like I honestly got kind of burnt out because I didn't enjoy the league mechanic that much. That's just my personal thing with it. But I feel like in terms of endgame, Shaper is a good way for you guys to at least experience some of the endgame. But don't worry, there are more boss fights. If you guys want to check out some of the other bosses, some of them are league specific and then they don't make it to what's called the core. Expedition had some great boss fights as well. I will link down below just because the most important thing is just explaining the mechanics, and if I wanted to push further, I can, but I have other games I did want to cover, and some of them are in like closed beta. One of them is like the new Torchlight game, but that's where I want to go ahead and end it off for our play session for the Tornado Shot. Tornado Shot build over there. We got Shaper done, and I'm pretty excited about that. In terms of the map, what was my hotkey for the map? I've got it on Awakener Tier 8. There's also Cyrus, he's another boss, but I'm going to link some videos down below that are from my previous playthrough, but the boss fights are exactly the same. I explain how to fight them. I mean, it's pretty much the same in terms of like the gameplay. It's just shoot them. However, the character build is going to be a Elementalist, but it doesn't really matter. I've basically shown you guys kind of how to play this character, but it's just the boss explanations. I'm going to reserve that one for the other character, so if you want to continue the playthrough, you can kind of basically do it via the other videos that I have for guides, so it'll be also in the pinned comment. But that's where I want to go ahead and end it off on the Tornado Shot. I would, if you still want to invest in this build, and in fact the other build actually kind of uses some of the same stuff because it is actually scaling cold damage, you'd want to get something called Awaken Added Cold Damage. It will give you a significant amount of damage added to it because if I get this to level 20, an Awakened level 1 gem will be way stronger than a level 20 added cold damage, and that one can go way higher. And then since we're doing crit, our damage will scale way higher. But pretty much, if you're looking to get other things on the tree, like right now we are level 94, but you can go up higher. Try to prioritize getting Critical Strike Multiplier. At this point, our critical strike chance, even though it says it's like 27, it's because of the whole brittle mechanic. We're actually at way over 100% crit. We actually just need to hit like 11% brittle on the enemy, and then we'll have 100% crit because that thing is still insane right now, and I don't believe that they are nerfing it, so it'll be good probably for next league. But next league, if you do want to plan to play this, they're actually buffing bow. And with Hydrosphere, they are significantly nerfing it. So how this works now is like when I just throw out the Hydrosphere, every single projectile is hitting it again. However, it has a cooldown of 1 second. So I'm not sure if that means that like if I shoot it, all of them hit and then there's the 1 second cooldown, or if that means like only one of the arrows hit and then the whole cooldown starts, which is going to be absolutely terrible because that's going to significantly nerf this build. But like I said, even though our damage, I would consider it way on the low side, you can still upgrade. Like this bow is not near like top tier at all. We don't even have Awakened Cold Gems. You can get way better gear than what we currently have. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that play session, and like I know it's been a while since the last part. I was just working on other games. But anyways, we have the Shaper done, and that's where I want to go ahead and end off. But thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. And we'll be dropping videos for the next league, which will probably play Necromancer, or I'll decide kind of later once I look at like the full patch notes to see like what will be kind of fun to play. Hopefully there'll be new skill gems too, because I always like messing with new skill gems. And in this time we did use the Tornado. We don't even have this maxed out. Not that it really needs it anyways. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next part very soon. Peace.